Leader.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I beg to move that the proceedings on the business set down on the order paper for today be exempted at this day's sitting from the provisions of Standing Order Number 2.
The question is the motion moved by the Leader of the House. As many as are of that opinion say aye. To the contrary say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Minister Gan Kim Yong.
Mr. Deputy Speaker, I thank the members for tabling today's motion. Climate change is an urgent global concern and would require collective and coordinated global action to address, as the scale of effort needed to make a meaningful impact far exceeds what individual countries can achieve. As a small island state, we are particularly susceptible to even small changes in global temperature, which will affect anything from sea level to weather patterns to food production and even supply of fresh water. In fact, our journey towards sustainability started decades ago. Given our limited natural resources and the lack of a hinterland, we have been pushing the envelope to conserve and maximize critical resources such as land and water, and green our island even as we embark on industrialization and urbanization. As a responsible global citizen, Singapore must also play our part in making our world sustainable. We launched a whole-of-nation movement, the Singapore Green Plan 2030, last year, outlining our plans towards a more sustainable Singapore. However, as we make the transition towards a greener future, we will need to make trade-offs and accept changes to the way we live and work. For example, as businesses introduce greener methods of production, production costs may go up because of the use of greener materials or greener ways of disposing waste. Some may require significant investments in new and greener equipment or need technologies that are yet to be available. This may eventually translate to higher costs for consumers. But as Professor Colin Pin pointed out, we will be doing ourselves a disservice if we focus only on the higher costs in the short to medium term and lose sight of the larger and longer-term opportunities that sustainability movement brings. We must continue to act decisively to prepare ourselves for these opportunities, while pacing our transition in a calibrated manner and managing the trade-offs and cost impact carefully. As Ms. Polisan, Mr. Liang Eng Hua, Ms. Fumi Ha, Mr. Derek Goh pointed out. Minister Grace Fu will speak about Singapore's planning ahead and acting decisively on green transition, including the ambitious steps that we are taking. I will elaborate on what we intend to do on the economic front. Under the green economy pillar of the Singapore Green Plan 2030, we aim to do three things. First, capture green growth opportunities. Second, transform our existing businesses and industries to integrate sustainability into their business models. And third, equip our workers with relevant skills so that they can benefit from green growth. There are a number of exciting economic opportunities arising from the global movement towards sustainability that play to Singapore's strengths as a transport, advanced manufacturing, trading, and financial hub. Several members, including Mr. Don Wee, Mr. Gan Thiam Poh, Ms. Nadia Samdin, and Mr. Henry Kwek, as well as Ms. Mariam Jaafar and Professor James Lim, mentioned green financing, and Mr. Saktiyanti Supaat too. As countries step up their efforts towards their climate change commitments, there will be growing demand for green financing, as well as investments into green technologies, infrastructure, and businesses. Singapore has established itself as a trusted financial and business hub. We are well placed to capture emerging opportunities in green financing. In fact, we are already a market leader in Southeast Asia for sustainable debt. The sector is still evolving, and there is great potential as demand for green finance continues to grow in the region. The Monetary Authority of Singapore, MAS, has developed a holistic green finance action plan to support sustainable finance market development, strengthen the financial sector's resilience to environmental risks, and standardize and enhance climate-related disclosures. Mr. Don Wee also asked the government to consider issuing more green bonds. Yes, we are exploring opportunities to do so under the Ministry of Finance's Green Bonds Program Office. Carbon services and carbon credits will play an increasingly important role to help businesses and governments meet regulatory or voluntary climate goals. As Professor Koh, Mr. Quek, and Mr. Supaat mentioned, we can build on Singapore's foundation as a trusted and deep commodities trading hub, as well as the vast potential for the creation of nature-based credits in our region to become a carbon services and trading hub. And in 2021, 13 international firms anchored and expanded their carbon services offerings in Singapore. We are also working with like-minded partners to standardize the rules on cross-border transaction of credits and to build the infrastructure and processes to facilitate this. For example, arising from the efforts of the Singapore's emerging Stronger Task Force Alliance for Action on Sustainability, DBS, SGX, Standard Chartered, and Temasek have set up the Climate Impact Exchange, or CIX. CIX provides a carbon exchange and marketplace for companies to access high-quality carbon credits. This exchange will have high standards of disclosure and emphasis on high-quality carbon credit. This is how we can differentiate ourselves and avoid greenwashing problems mentioned by Professor James Lim. Over a longer time frame, there are also opportunities in low-carbon technologies such as hydrogen, sustainable aviation and maritime fuels, smart electricity grids, and sustainable foods. We are investing research and development resources into these areas, which we will need for ourselves, and we hope to build new economic engines in the process. These new green activities are exciting, but they will take time to grow and mature. On the other hand, most of our existing enterprises will be affected by the green wave. This is because investors, lenders, customers, and regulatory agencies will increasingly impose environmental requirements on these enterprises. The impact will differ for different sectors and enterprises, depending on the nature of their businesses and operations. The impact is most significant for the largest emitting sectors, such as the petrochemical industry. We have been working with businesses in the sector to help them decarbonize. Last November, we released the Sustainable Jurong Island Report, which outlines our plan to transform Jurong Island into a sustainable energy and chemicals park that operates sustainably and exports sustainable products globally. Our aspiration is for the energy and chemicals sector to increase its output of sustainable products by 4 times from 2019 levels and achieve more than 6 million tons of carbon abatement per annum from low-carbon solutions by 2050. The journey is a challenging one, but we are determined to get there. Our power sector, which provides electricity for both businesses and households, is also a major emitter. The Ministry of Trade and Industry and the Energy Market Authority, EMA, are therefore embarking on an energy transition plan to decarbonize electricity production. We are accelerating solar deployment and plan to import up to 4 gigawatts of electricity by 2035. Mr. Giam asked about the subsidies for solar deployment, especially for the private property. We do not have subsidies for solar deployment, as solar is already cheaper than our retail electricity, and there is also already incentive for them to do so. However, EMA has schemes to facilitate the sale of electricity, excess electricity, to the grid, and we will continue to help and support them. We will also develop and tap on low-carbon solutions, such as hydrogen and carbon capture, utilization, and storage, or what we call CCUS, when these become more viable. In addition, we will work with generation companies to enhance the efficiency of our power generation systems. But lower emitting businesses will also need to incorporate sustainability as an integral part of their business and embrace sustainability as a competitive advantage. For example, more tourists and international conferences now require that countries and hotels they are visiting to have met certain sustainability standards. I am encouraged that a recent survey by the Sustainable Living Lab with Singapore Business Federation and other partners found that our SMEs recognize additional market opportunities, reputation improvements, and cost reductions as the top 3 motivations for them to consider becoming more sustainable. I will explain later how we can provide a conducive environment to help our SMEs. Our third aim is to equip our workers with relevant skills so that they can benefit from the green economy. As Ms. Haini So and Ms. Rachel Ong, Mr. Dennis Tan and Mr. Edward Chia highlighted, as the green economy develops, many green jobs will be created that will require new green skills. For example, a traditional car mechanic will need now to learn how to repair an electric vehicle. An internal combustion engine is very different from an electric motor. A power engineer will now need to learn about hydrogen, solar, and other renewable forms of energies. An investment manager will need to learn about sustainability standards and green financing. Skills Future Singapore identified the green economy as a growth area in their inaugural report on skills demand for the future economy. There are green job opportunities in many sectors, such as financial services, energy and power, built environment, and manufacturing. There are also skills that are transferable across sectors, such as carbon footprint management and sustainability management. These skills can equip our existing workforce to take on new jobs or new roles in existing jobs in the new green economy. Workforce Singapore is working with partners to explore a broad-based career conversion program, or CCP, for sustainability professionals. This CCP will not only help companies nurture sustainability champions to kickstart their journey, but also support the transition of affected workers due to the greening of their jobs. At the sectoral level, efforts are underway to build our talent pipeline. WSG and the Singapore Polytechnic have rolled out a new CCP for clean and renewable energy professionals in September 2021. Over the next 2 years, the new CCP will support the transition of up to 150 existing employees that are impacted and meet careerists from other sectors into the clean and renewable energy-related jobs. Separately, MAS is setting up centers of excellence for training and research in green financing. We have 3 such centers in Singapore: the Singapore Green Finance Center by SMU and Imperial College Business School, the Sustainable and Green Finance Institute established by the NUS, and the Sustainable Finance Institute Asia. MAS will also be launching a new Sustainable Finance Technical Skills and Competency category in the Skills Framework for Financial Services. These efforts support our workers in building the relevant knowledge and skills which can in turn help anchor Singapore as a leading center for green finance. To achieve these ambitions, I agree with many members that the government needs to work in partnership with the private sector and the community. The government's role is to provide an enabling environment to help businesses and workers take advantage of these opportunities. Our approach rests on 5 key pillars. First, we will need to right-price resources through the carbon tax. which Minister Grace Fu will speak on later, and which Mr. Louis Ng also mentioned. The correct pricing will guide investment decisions and spur companies to decarbonize, but it will also come with higher costs for businesses and consumers. We should calibrate and pace the adjustment carefully to give companies sufficient time to adapt, put in place decarbonization measures, and stay competitive, as members, including Ms. Fumiha and Mr. Derry Goh, mentioned. A higher carbon tax will also have an indirect impact on households. The government will consider how we can help ease the cost increase, especially for the lower income households. For instance, when the carbon tax was first introduced in 2019, the government provided additional use-save rebates for 3 years to cover the expected average increase in electricity and gas bills from the carbon tax. We also subsequently introduced the Climate-Friendly Households Program to provide eligible households with vouchers to offset the cost of energy-efficient appliances. Second, we will complement the carbon tax with financial support to help companies adapt. Last October, I announced the Enterprise Sustainability Program to help local businesses build capabilities in sustainability and capture opportunities in the green economy. The ESP is expected to benefit at least 6,000 enterprises over the next 4 years. It will support training workshops, capability and product development projects, and key enablers such as certification and financing. Several of these efforts will involve partnerships with the trade associations and chambers. We will also leverage the green finance drive to provide another incentive for companies to become more sustainable. The Green and Sustainability Loan Grant Scheme, or GSLS, that MAS rolled out in November 2020 encourages banks to develop green and sustainability-linked loan frameworks to make such financing more accessible to small and medium-sized enterprises, to better support their transition to greener business models. The GSLS helps to defray qualifying expenses incurred by businesses and banks. Third, we are developing standards and accreditation to help companies assess and demonstrate their sustainability credentials. To date, the Singapore Standard Council and the Singapore Accreditation Council have developed more than 50 national standards and 13 accreditation programs supporting the green economy. Examples include standards in renewable energy, electric vehicles, and food sustainability and resilience. We develop these standards in consultation with industry associations, professional bodies, institutes of higher learning, research institutes, and companies to ensure they are relevant and robust. Singapore is also an active member of the two international standards setting bodies, the ISO as well as the International Electrotechnical Commission, or IEC, at the technical and governance levels. For example, Singapore is involved in the development of new ISO and IEC standards in the areas of water efficiency management, waste terminology, solar photovoltaic, and circular economy. At the governance level, Singapore also chairs the ISO Technical Management Board that oversees some 300 technical committees, including in sustainability, such as for sustainable finance, circular economy, and environmental management. Fourth, we are helping our companies access green opportunities abroad through the Green Economy Agreements. The GEA, or Green Economy Agreements, comprises two key aspects. First, the GEA would set common rules and standards that will promote trade and investment in environmental goods and services. Second, the GEA would facilitate cooperation in areas such as the scaling of low-carbon technology and pilot projects. Negotiations with Australia are underway for the first of these GEAs. The GEAs will build on and enhance Singapore's economic connectivity established through our extensive network of trade agreements. They will also strengthen international governance on trade and environmental sustainability and put us in good stead to contribute to international discourse on rules writing and standards setting in the global response to climate change. Finally, we will partner companies to do research and development and testbed new green technologies and solutions, a point Mr. Gerald Giam mentioned. This will help us build knowledge and develop capabilities and place us in a stronger position to capture green opportunities in the long run. For example, last year, we awarded $55 million to 12 projects under the Low Carbon Energy Research Funding Initiative, which will see collaboration between research institutes and industry to develop low-carbon technologies such as hydrogen and CCUS. Mr. Deputy Speaker, sir, the sustainability movement is gaining momentum. There are challenges for our businesses in transiting to a more sustainable business model. There are also immense opportunities for our enterprises and workers in the rapidly growing green economy. The government will help foster the right environment for businesses and workers to adapt to and take advantage of these opportunities. As Ms. Maria Jafar and Ms. Herting Rue mentioned, every one of us have a role to play to support the sustainability movement, do our part to conserve resources, minimize waste, and opt for greener products and services. So we look forward to continue working with the industry, businesses, workers, and everyone on this exciting journey. On this note, sir, I support the motion.